think we are live on
Yep.
Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're on Instagram and Facebook again. We're waiting on YouTube, and there we are. We are live on YouTube. All right. Hello, everyone. See who's joining here.
Hi. It's still kind of loading.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give it a second here.
Do, 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 do.
Okay. And we got a couple people coming in on Facebook. We have, oh wow, look at the Facebook Wheel of Time group.
Yay!
Hello.
Hi, friends.
Hello, everyone. We'll get started in just a second here. We're connected.
There we go. Now we're on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, great. So we are on a whole bunch of channels right now. My name is Jason Denzel. I'm the founder of Dragonmount.com.
I'm Kathy Campbell, and I am the producer, magical unicorn of Dragonmount.
So as you have probably been seeing, because we've been bombarding you for the last 24, 48 hours, and
However
certainly
long it's
today,
been.
yeah, we had have you all noticed that we had an embargo lift today on some of our non-spoiler reviews?
We're so excited.
And so there is, we got a lot to talk about. We're here. We got some big, exciting stuff if you haven't seen, but we have put out a lot of content today. And so we're here in London. The London premiere of The Wheel of Time from Amazon Prime Video landed yesterday, and we attended that on the blue carpet.
Yes.
Which you probably saw or maybe did. And if you didn't see it, we've got it up on whatever channel you're on right now. It's there in our archives.
You can find it, and you can see all of the information and the amazing experiences that we had in this tiny little space. We were in a little bit of a box.
I know. So even, and like here, now that we're like, we're like anxious to spread out here, but then again, for Instagram, we're nice and narrow, so we're cuddled up here.
Yes.
So anyway, so some exciting news. It's about 10 o'clock here in London where we are, but we had another exciting day today, and we wanted to tell you about it before we completely just crashed and everything else. I don't know how many hours it's been since I slept. The big news. You're excited. Why don't you go ahead? So
which part?
We
have so much big news. What am I talking about?
What have you? So
what have we done today?
Or what about so we know that a lot of people throughout the fan events throughout the United States, and those lucky enough to be with us in London, a couple of you have seen the first 2 episodes of The Wheel of Time from Amazon Prime Video, and the rest of you are going to get to see it on Friday, on the 19th. We here at Dragonmount were lucky enough to have fantastic people over at Amazon Prime Video who gave not just myself and Kathy, but our team gave us access to 6 episodes of the Wheel of Time. That's right. We can finally say that we have seen the first 6 out of 8 episodes out of the first season. There are 8 episodes confirmed for season 1. There's also 8 confirmed for season 2. Those aren't ready yet. We're still filming. We honestly, I'll tell you a little story, kind of, a little behind the curtain, behind the scenes here, right? When we were first talking with Amazon, I fully expected, I knew other media outlets, it was pretty, the group that had received them, we're talking about like receiving, the first 3 and getting early access to the first 3 that are going to drop on Friday. And so that's what I figured that we were going to get.
Yeah,
and
I was like, oh yes, please let me watch the first episode,
right?
Let me do this, please.
And, but when it happened, we received the email and it was like, wait, 6 episodes?
There's 6. Jason, did you see that there's 6 episodes here? Like, it was bananas. And so, yes, we can say now officially, because we've had to be very hush-hush about so many things, including when we met Hamad last night, who plays Loyal, had to be like, hypothetically,
if we had seen your performance as Loyal,
we would say that you were amazing. But of course, we can't say that because we haven't seen it, except we totally had. And so I'm so excited for everyone to watch this show. Like, I was excited beforehand, but now having seen these 6 episodes, I'm more excited because you see like all of the like theories and thoughts and just kind of speculation that's been happening, and like
so much of what well, first of all, let me back up, because there's a lot of more people are joining here, and some people are asking in the various chats like what we're talking about. So real quick, if you're just joining us, so Kathy, producer Kathy, and myself, Jason, founder of Dragonmount, we were lucky enough to have early screeners for the first 6 episodes of The Wheel of Time from Amazon Prime Video. So we are currently one of a small handful of humans, is my understanding, who have seen, outside of the production crew, have seen up through the first 6 out of 8 episodes of the first season. So most of the season we have seen, but of course we haven't seen the last giant climactic things. And I gotta tell you, like, it was hard to just stop at 6, like, you know, because naturally, I don't know about you, I think you did, but I don't think you did, but I binged all 6 in a single Saturday that I had free or something.
Yeah,
cleared my calendar, let me tell you.
I watched the first 3 to kind of get that experience of everyone else on Friday when you all get to watch it on the 19th, and so I wanted to feel that stopping point, and then I like fell asleep and was like, okay, now I can wake up the next day and watch and savor the rest of these. Each episode feels like a movie in and of itself. That 60 minutes, that hour of the show is just so epic and so well thought out and so well planned. I know we had people ask if we'd seen reviews and if we agreed with them. I haven't read any reviews. We've been having
a busy day. It's
been a very busy day, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But the fact that I know what I think about them, and I'm gonna let Jason obviously talk a little bit more. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, as well as my buddy Rajiv and Maureen, check out our podcast. Go to theincomparable.com/Dragonmount or dragonmount.com/podcast to see. We published the very first episode of the podcast to talk about our non-spoiler review. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit before we dive into the show. For those just joining, Kathy and I have seen the first 6 episodes of the Amazon Prime Video's The Wheel of Time. And so we are this video, I've got to be really clear, there will be no spoilers. Not only are we not allowed to give spoilers, but that would kind of be messed up if we were to just like tell you like, oh my God,
the entire plot.
Like we're not going to do that. So there's going to be no spoilers. We're just going to be giving you general impressions, and even then, we're not going to really go into specifics. We're not going to say, for example, like, oh yeah, that time they went in Tellerandrioid, or like we'll kind of stay broad. We will get to some general things, but nothing that has if you've seen all the trailers and the hype videos and everything else out there, there shouldn't be too many surprises. And we'll talk in very general things here. So no spoilers. Don't worry about that. But let's also talk about the content that we have got up. So right now, besides this video, we have a video on YouTube where the intrepid Tom DeSimone from our team does a brief, but he gives his feedback and his thoughts on the first 6 episodes. That video is live on YouTube right now. We also have the podcast that Kathy mentioned, where she and Rajiv and Maureen from our team, the 3 of them have launched a new podcast called Dragonmount, the Wheel of Time podcast. You can find that, as Kathy said, on dragonmount.com/podcast. Or we are partnering with the Incomparable Network, so it's on the incomparable.com/Dragonmount. Or find your favorite podcast place, whether it's Apple Music, Apple Pods,
Apple Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts,
Overcast, Castro, your favorite. If you listen to podcasts, we don't need to tell you what the apps are.
Search
Just
us,
search
it, and you'll find
it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can listen to them talking about their spoiler-free thoughts on the first 6 episodes. Coming up this weekend, though, on the 19th, Friday the 19th, is when the world and you and everybody else is going to get their first glimpses of the first 3 episodes. Those will be out. And then on Saturday, we're going to give you a day. Got a day, a
Yes.
warning.
To zen,
To zen
with it.
right? To sit with it, exactly. And then on Saturday, we are going to bombard you with our spoiler-filled videos, and not us specifically, but there's going to be videos from Kitty Rallo and Tom DeSimone will be doing YouTube videos, and then also Kathy and her team with Rajiv and Maureen. There will be 3 more podcast episodes, an hour each. Each one will be an hour long. Each one is focused on, with spoilers, the episode, each episode. So the idea is that you go on Friday or Saturday morning, if you got to work late or something, but come on. We all know if you're on here, you're watching this Friday.
You have taken off Friday.
Yeah, right. You're like, this is happen. Yes, exactly. So you can watch the first 3 episodes on Friday. And then on Saturday, come back and you can listen to our new podcast, the new Dragonmount Wheel of Time podcast. And there's 3 hours there of content where Kathy and Rajiv and Maureen break down the episode, summarize it, discuss it, kind of dig into it a little bit with all sorts of spoilers. And let me tell you, those 3 people, Kathy here, Maureen and Rajiv, they know their Wheel of Time. They have been around. There are some smart cookies on that team. So I listened to it just as part of the editing process, and I had like nothing to add. They just did. I just got lost into it myself, and I'm like, just ship it, stamp it, approved. It's fantastic.
Well, and the great thing about the podcast is we wanted to make sure that we concentrated on the people that hadn't necessarily read the books. We know how many of you, and we love you, obviously, so don't worry. The ends of the podcast, we will talk about book spoilers and what we think and thoughts and that sort of thing, but we will also make sure that the podcast itself is for people that have just watched the show. So if maybe you've only read half the books, or you're still in the process of reading, or you've never picked up a book, the podcast will be there for you to allow you to really experience the world of the Wheel of Time in the show and not feel detracted because you haven't read the books. We understand how many books there are, how many words there are, all of that. And so even though we love them and are very passionate about them, we also know that this show is not necessarily just for the book readers. And so the podcast will be talking about the show mainly, and the characters and the development and the story there. But the end of it, stay tuned, because the end of each episode, we will really talk about the implications of the story that happened, what these characters have presented themselves on the show into, like how that tells like foreshadowing and what the future will bring and all of that. So we really hope you enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun. I'm so thankful that we were able to watch the show early so that we could record the podcast, because
have this content ready for you. Like, we when we were talking to Amazon, they're like, how quickly can you get stuff up? And I'm like, well, if you give us access,
yeah.
we can. So this is the idea, is that we are doing this for you. I mean, yes, I know, like on a personal level, it's exciting for us to get it early, but I promise, our drive here and our motivation is to get you this content in a timely manner. One other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that in addition to all the videos and the podcasts, in addition to that, we're going to have written reviews of the first 3 episodes so on that same Saturday, the day after they launch. We will have written reviews. The first one, I think, is being written by Adam Whitehead, who is our TV blogger. He's going to submit that hopefully soon. And we'll have that up on Saturday, so you can see our written reviews. And then on top of it, beyond all that, we are also, another one of our team members, Crystal, is going to write written recaps of each episode, detailed recaps. I've seen some of it already. She has done a fantastic job. Those will be up on dragonmount.com/TV. Each on Dragonmount, the way the website is structured is that under dragonmount.com/TV, there's a list of links and graphics and stuff. And if you, each one has a dedicated page to each episode. So each episode has its own dedicated static web page on Dragonmount, and on those pages we will recap the episode for you to watch. It's a great little thing to, clearly you can come back and reference it later. Think of it as a long-term archival thing.
Or if you want to listen to the podcast and follow along, or reread the synopsis, like the breakdown, scene descriptions, and then head over and watch the videos or any sort of thing, or you're like, which episode did X happen in? You can go to the descriptions of the episodes and
check it out.
Find what you missed.
Yeah. All right. So once again, I'm going to do this every now and then because we're seeing our numbers balloon here, people joining. So thank you everyone who's hopping on and being a part of this. This was kind of a last minute thing. Kathy and I are completely exhausted from all the activities today, and we were taking an Uber back to the hotel, and I was like, hey, do you want to go live when we get back?
Because
we got to talk about this. I felt this urge to start chatting with Kathy, and I'm like, wait a minute, instead of talking with her about it, we are allowed to talk to the world about it. So here we are. So Kathy and I this is a non-spoiler video that you're watching. There will be no spoilers, but Kathy and I have been lucky enough to receive the first 6 episodes of The Wheel of Time from Amazon Prime Video. There was amazing people over there who have given us access.
And are allowing us to be in London here.
Yes, we are here in London because this is about 24 hours after the world premiere on the blue carpet, and where we got to meet some of the cast and crew. That video is up on YouTube and other places. So you can check that out. We're going to have some more breakdowns and a little more concise summaries of the events that happened there soon. We're going to, here in this video, in just a moment, we're going to talk about the first non-spoilers, high-level impressions of the first 6 episodes. As a reminder, they're in season 1. There are 8 episodes. The first 3 are coming out on Friday, on the November 19th. And then after that, they'll come out every Friday after that, with the season finale, episode 8, airing on Christmas Eve, December 24th. So we will not have any spoilers. We're just going to talk about the first 6 because that's all we've seen. And let me tell you, it was a big tease. it was a big tease to binge watch 6 straight episodes for the first time and then be like, now what happens, So we're going to be giving our overall impressions of that. We're also going to talk a little bit about our activities in London today, which we've been tweeting and posting and Instagramming and putting up stuff all day long about. So you can check out our social media to see photos, and we're going to be talking about those experiences. And then finally, if there's time, if we're not completely passed out here, and if there's any of you left, then maybe what we'll do is we'll go through and take some questions from the chats and answer. Again, we can't do any spoilers, and so we're not going to be able to tell you specifics, but we can do our best Aes Sedai impression and talk around things, yes. And we will tell no lies.
Yes, we will speak no word that is not true.
So anyway,
you want to get started with your one sentence. If you had to describe the 6 episodes that you've watched, what would you say?
You're putting me on the spot.
I know. You're welcome.
Epic. If I had to put a word to it, it's epic. It was amazing. And there were times where I truly felt again that I was 16 years old. I'm a 43-year-old man who's been doing this for a long time. But when I first started reading these books, when I first read Eye of the World for the first time, I was 16 years old, I think. And, I still remember over the years, I've retained that feeling of what it was like to be 16 and to, just being absorbed into this journey, specifically, with Rand, and because that was the main focus of that first book, as we all know. But the wider 2 rivers and everybody else as they went down and trying to puzzle out, what was happening here and who the Dragon Reborn could be and everything. And I was brought back to that. And, for so many, so many of you, right? We know how this story goes. We know how the story ends. And it was a special thing to go back and to re-experience it. And yet we all know that there are changes in the show. There are changes because that's the nature of adaptations. And I get it. I understand the need and desire and the thought of like, well, why would you change something that's so great or whatever?
Yeah.
But having worked in film myself, being a professional book writer now, like I get it. These are different mediums. There are changes that are necessary, and also sometimes, like, as much as I love Robert Jordan, clearly we are huge Robert Jordan fans,
Clearly.
And I mean, the man was a personal friend of mine. I love the guy to death for forever, but story, is made stronger, I think, by the fact that Rafe and his team were able to lovingly and respectfully look at these books and say, you know what? For example, again, no spoilers, no specifics, but in general, like saying, like, look, Matt doesn't really become the Matt we love until the later books. He's in the first book. He's a little bit bland, or maybe he's very similar in a way. He's not exactly identical, but he's like, the vibe is a little bit similar to some of the other characters. How do we distinguish Matt from the rest? How do we also, the show puts an emphasis. They're trying to build up this mystery of like, who is the Dragon Reborn? Because although we have read these books, the viewers have not, and so they don't know. A lot of people, in fact, maybe the majority of people, actually, for sure, the majority of people who watch this show are not going to know who the Dragon Reborn is, and that's, for them, it's that preserving that mystery is part of the journey, and it's part of what we saw in those first 6 episodes, what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and it really helps you care about the characters in such a way, because it's growing the story in a way that is very particular. The most amazing part is any of these changes that have come in, though, it still feels like the characters. These are the characters that we know and love, and they may be saying or doing things that aren't in the books, but it's still stuff that is so right and so real, and it's just magical. It's just magical.
Yeah. So again, I'm seeing some of our numbers have doubled since I last talked about what's going on here. So once again, sorry for those who've heard this already. So Kathy and I have had the opportunity to see the first 6 episodes of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime Video. So we're talking about that in a non-spoiler way. We're not going to give anything away. Not only are we not allowed to, but more than that, we don't want to ruin anything for you. We will have spoiler breakdowns and analysis and recaps and summaries and written reviews and all sorts of things on this Saturday for the first 3 episodes. So your job is to, after enjoying this video, is to, on Friday, go watch The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime Video on November 19th. And then on the 20th, Saturday, we will have all sorts of content on Dragonmount, both written, podcast on our brand new podcast featuring Kathy, Maureen, and Rajiv, and also on YouTube and written and static content on Dragonmount. So we're talking about these first 6 episodes. I said it was epic. You said it was magical. Yeah. Another thing that I've written, I put this out on social media and on a variety of places. And I said if I had a short review for things, especially the first 3 episodes, but mostly for the first 3, is that I wrote, and I stand by this too, I had the impression that they didn't change as much as you think. Like, this is still the eye of the world. Yes, there are changes. There are, little things. There are some bigger things for the characters. A lot of you are already aware. I'm not giving away specifics, but we know that some of the Two Rivers characters have different backstories than in the books, and that's okay. It's different, but at the same time, you can tell that at the very least, whether you don't have to agree with the changes, but at least know that the filmmakers clearly seem to approach it from they didn't just go like willy-nilly, like, oh, what happens if we blah? What happens if we do this? They approached and said, what happens if we make a change like this? Like, what if we were to do that? How does that affect the character? How does that affect their long-term story? How does this set up, right? And put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who has, only, 8 hours more or less to tell a complex story and to do it justice to 5 or 7 main characters, if you include Moraine, the Two Rivers 5 and Moraine and Lan take those 5 characters, and there's plenty of other sub characters that have expanded. We all know Logain is getting more screen time. So he's a whole character plot arc that starts happening eventually. There's other Aes Sedai we meet that are not necessarily in the book. So all these plots. So put yourself in those writer's shoes, right? And if you've got to condense this stuff, and you also need to, in a very succinct and quick way, need to be able to distinguish this for new readers who don't know who Matt becomes. They don't know what Matt becomes like we do. We don't know, or they don't know what Perrin becomes, and so you have to distinguish them in a unique way.
Yeah, so that they feel it so that the characters that they are when you first meet them are different and unique and original and are exactly who they need to be to set up the future plot lines and to set up the people that they become. And that path is different, but I have a feeling that you will feel like you are on the same journey with the same characters, even if you're taking different steps, which is why we've made a point to make sure to say, hey, this is a different turning of the wheel. This is our same beloved story that we care so much about, but it's going to sound a little bit different because it's a different turning. We're on a different wheel.
Yeah, and it's a different thing. The books are never changing. The books are there. The originals are there, and you can always experience them the same way. And to be clear, what I'm also saying too is that honestly, I went in expecting this many changes, expecting me this different. But watching especially the first 3 episodes, especially the first episode, it felt like the Eye of the World. It's the same sequence of events. They're going more or less to the same places. Yes, some things are a bit condensed, but it feels like that you're seeing it. I think that the Two Rivers 5. Let me start actually with Moraine, played by Rosamund Pike, and Lan, who's played by Daniel Henney. I mean, they straight up feel like the characters from the books, with the notable exception that Moraine actually smiles. She got a little...
Lan actually smiles.
Yeah, and that's okay though. I mean, it's not like they still crack jokes about how he, there's somewhere in there there's a joke about I think Matt looks at Lan and says that is the most I've ever seen you speak or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I know there's some comments in the chat about the trust that we've put into the creators of the show and not the creators of the book and the source material. The going into this, if we watch a page by page reproduction of the books, no one would watch it.
Yeah, it would be too long, and it would, and I know if you kind of cut down the description, a picture's worth 1,000 words and all that kind of stuff, and maybe Robert Jordan's, so a picture is worth 10,000 Robert Jordan words,
right,
right? 2,000 words.
We know this.
But yeah, so the point is that I know we're kind of going back and forth, but at the end of the day, I do think that it's going to feel like the book that and that you love, and at least initially. Now that said, as we get on past the first 3 episodes, it does open up a bit, and that's mostly because we go to a location, that has towers of light colors that have got a lot of those plot lines are expanded. Like we see, we talked about how there is more Logain. We know that he's in there, so that is expanded. Of course, the Logain story is closely involved with the Aes Sedai. So those are expanded and kind of brought out, and that's fantastic because some of the actors, Kate Fleetwood plays Leandrin Sedai of the Red Aja, and holy moly, she brings it, and she brings it early. You'll see her early, and but as the season goes on, the Aes Sedai and the Logain plot, and even Moraine and Lan, that dynamic, the politics of the White Tower that we know from the books, that we know how complex the White Tower plot lines of, you get into books like 8, 9, 10, and so on, whatever they get. Robert Jordan loved writing to write, White Tower politics, and some of that is maybe not exactly copy and pasted in, but the feel of, within the White Tower there is a dynamic, and you can sense the Ajas are at each other's throats. And this is it's great to see that conflict come to life. And there's a point where even if it's not the exact words or dialogue or scene or whatever, like there certainly is a moment that you will watch these episodes, whether it's in episode 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, you're gonna sit there and think to myself, my goodness, this is the Wheel of Time. This is the Aes Sedai manipulating each other, speaking truths, backstabbing each other. This is them manipulating. You could see the machinations already starting that lead to some big events that are gonna, happen that you are familiar with from the books. So these things, the seeds are being set for this, and that's exciting to see that all laid out. Yeah.
And it's just beautifully acted. You care about every character, even if you know what they become in the future episodes. Like, you want to watch them. You just fall in love with everyone. All of these characters are exactly what you want them to be. The look, the feel, the acting, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I'll give you a great example, and this is again, it's not a spoiler, but it's from the trailer. So there is a moment in the trailer, 2 moments, I guess, where you see, and you've all seen this if you've seen the trailer, right? So you see where, there's a part where Lan is wearing white, and he goes like this, and he screams, and then a moment later you see Moraine also wearing white, and she goes like this. I'm not going to tell you about that scene or what that is, or even when you're going to see it or whatever. But that, I felt, was a fantastic example of something that the filmmakers brought to the Wheel of Time that feels Wheel of Time, but it gave the actors a chance where you're seeing Rosamund Pike, this world-class actor, giving heartfelt tears in this moment, and she is feeling something, and that it's that there's a connection between Aes Sedai and Warder. They feel each other's stuff, and so when one is feeling it, the other is feeling it, and it becomes a beautiful scene that extends even just beyond the two of them in that moment. And it was emotional. I can see that being a big thing that people talk about eventually.
Yeah, it was just absolutely heartbreaking. I cried. I was very glad that I was sitting in my room by myself. Nobody could see the amount of tears that came down because it was emotional, and I can't wait for everyone to experience it because it was just.
Yeah, and there's a comment here that maybe a little snarky comment, but someone said, when does Lan ever wear white? And you're right. I don't know if in the books he ever wears specifically a white outfit or whatever. Nor is this scene something that I think was born out of the books. There may be a reference. Maybe there's a reference in some of you who could go even deeper into some of the details. Maybe it was something from New Spring either. I don't know if this was a scene that was made up by the filmmaker or I don't want to say, but a thing that was from the books per se. But yeah, maybe let's go on the assumption that he doesn't ever wear white specifically or whatever, and that's okay. Because I tell you, the power of that scene, the emotion, what they're delivering, what those actors bring, and the story point that they are having there, and the world that it builds, the how that expands a cultural thing, a story thing, a insight into how the One Power works. All of that scene was doing so much that it just became something that I'm like, this is why, in my view, it's okay for things like, even if this wasn't exactly in the books, holy moly, this is the Wheel of Time that I am watching, and I will take Rosamund Pike playing Moraine and having that moment, and Daniel Henney playing Lan and doing that, and I'm like, that's Lan. Like, there's no doubt about it. That is him. And I think that you may not agree, and that's okay. When that eventually comes in whatever episode it is, and there's other examples like that besides that one specific scene. But I tell you that for most of us, I feel like it's going to be something that is talked about for a long time.
I just thinking about that scene, I have goosebumps again. And there are dozens, hundreds of those moments in the show where I had to kind of pinch myself, like, we're watching Wheel of Time, and it feels like it, and it's just absolutely breathtaking and incredible, and we're so excited for you to experience it. Just so excited.
Yeah. So we've some of our initial thoughts anyway on the first 6 episodes. We talked about as they go along, things kind of expand, but it does feel very eye of the world for those that have asked. And I don't know if it's been in our chat or necessarily, but a lot of people in general have asked, the season, how many books does this cover? The answer is that now we haven't seen the last 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
But knowing kind of what's coming and seeing some stuff in the trailers and not having any special insider information, but just being able to, see and extrapolate. What we know is that the first season is more or less the story of the Eye of the World. The story, essentially begins where you would expect it, in terms of the two rivers and everything, and it ends with the more or less the ending of the first book. At least that's where things seem to be headed. There are elements, of course, that are brought in from other places, but the broad strokes, the broad stuff, mostly I think is that journey that the Two Rivers kids go on.
Yeah, because of course they're aged up in this,
as you've seen.
And so at 20, it's a little different than teenagers. So I don't know if we can call them kids. We'll probably still call them kids, because we're old.
Yeah, I know, right? Because Kathy and I, or at least speaking for myself, I feel like I'm more Lan and Maureen's age than I am, right?
Yeah.
Than kids. But somebody asked here, what's the appropriate age range for the show? You can ask Amazon that. I think it's TV 14 is the official rating, something like that.
I think so.
I've got two teenagers. My kids back home are ages 16 and 13, and my 16-year-old's like, I don't want to watch that show because he's 16, but I would let both of my kids watch it. And there's no, unlike Game of Thrones, this is not, it's not as violent as Game of Thrones. There's no overt nudity. There's no, you see some butts, I guess, but
there's no, it's a very different feel from Game of Thrones. And so I have a 12-year-old, and I would not let them watch Game of Thrones, clearly. If they wanted to watch The Wheel of Time, I would probably let them. There's definitely a violence level, but so it depends on where you are as a parent in taking care of your children. And the best part is since it's streaming, you can watch it first.
Yeah, it's true.
And then go and watch it with them because you're going to want to watch it again.
Yeah, get your own judgment on it. But I think it feels like a PG-13 type thing for movies, or TV 14 or whatever. It feels like in that range. I think Amazon, you can probably Google it. I think that they might have an official rating by now. And if not, they certainly will by the time the show airs, published. So, but it's somewhere around there. No sexual nudity, nothing.
Yeah.
Like that,
so shall we tell you a little bit about what happened today that we got to do, and then you guys can kind of gather up some additional questions that you might have for us about the show and whether or not we can answer it. But today was epic.
Yeah, today was the last 24 hours have been crazy.
Yeah.
48 hours, whatever, since we've been to London. So if you aren't aware, Kathy and I are here in London. We are here 24 hours after the London world premiere of The Wheel of Time, and Amazon Prime Video was kind enough to fly us on out here and put us up for this and give us access to the things that are just amazing experiences. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sure you probably have, or maybe not, head over to our various social media or our YouTube channel and check out the video that we have of last night's blue carpet events, because we were announcing and marketing it or advertising it as a red carpet.
So technically it's still a red carpet, even if the carpet is a different color.
It was physically blue carpet.
Yes.
And so we were kind of crammed this corner. I know that the camera angle wasn't as great as a lot of the others. We were on a tripod. All the other content creators that we were there, you saw Daniel Green, who was amazing, of course, and we love, and the Dusty Wheel and Nameless and Critter and on TikTok, all the they were all pretty much holding their phones and doing that. And we were streaming out to all the places that we're streaming right now, multiple 5, 6, 7 locations all at once, and so we had a laptop and we had only a certain angle and wiggle room in there. So,
Yeah.
but we made do, and the content is up there. You can see our interviews. Some highlights that come to mind from that yesterday were asking Yosha Stradowski, who plays Rand al'Thor. I asked him what scenes from future books outside of the Eye of the World are you most excited about seeing? And his immediate answer without hesitation is the box, referring to the ending of Lord of Chaos. So that's always a fan. He went right to that. He can't wait to film that.
Yeah, my absolute favorite moment was getting to interview Madeline Madden, who plays the amazing Egwene, and just the experience of getting to tell them. So asking, hey, my child's name is Avienda. So like, what names do you think are going to be popular in this because of the show? Like, what's going to happen? What are these names that are going to start living? Khaleesi and all of that from other properties, and like having her immediately just say Nynaeve and the love that they have between them. It's just absolutely magical to see the love that they have for each other, and she touched me.
High fives or whatever. But the chemistry, as Kathy's saying, the chemistry between this cast and crew, it's on full display. I mean, you can see it anywhere. Go if you were to check out, just follow any, the hashtag, the Wheel of Time, hashtag the Wheel of Time on any platform, and you will see all the photos and every. Rosamund Pike, Moraine walked hand in hand with Madeline, Egwene. They walked hand in hand together. There was a moment. Did all you guys see this? Like everyone watching here, did you see the moment where Daniel Henney, who plays Lan, is talking with the media, and Nynaeve, Zoe Robbins, who plays Nynaeve, comes over and just pats him on the shoulder, and they look at each other, and there's just like. Boom. There's chemistry, and you will see that chemistry in season 1. No spoilers, but you shall see that chemistry in season 1. We can say that having seen the first 6 episodes. I honestly, what did you two think? I thought that I was impressed that I'm kind of surprised. I'll say that they revealed so much, like they kind of expanded a little bit on that ship.
Yes, I think it was. It's a beautiful way to create this beloved couple early on in the foreshadowing. So that what is it, Nynaeve?
We need to come up with a consensus. Maybe we need to put a poll up on our social media. But let us know in the comments. Like, what do we call that ship between Lan and Nynaeve? Is it
I think it's Nynaeve.
Nynaeve
is the only way, because Nan. No.
Nyan?
No,
I guess
no.
so.
It's we don't need a poll.
All right, we know the answer. But Nynaeve, I guess that's it. But I'm surprised that isn't a hashtag yet, or at least a well-known hashtag.
I'm sure it is.
So go forth, people who are watching this, and make that a hashtag Nynaeve. Let's make this a thing. So, but you could see that chemistry on the red carpet. You'll certainly see it, throughout the season.
Yeah. But yesterday wasn't all we got to do.
No, that's true. Yeah. Sorry.
That was just I know
some of the highlights.
Just an amazing highlight. But today has just been incredible. Check out my amazing hair by Alexis Day.
That's true. Even it's really hard to see or whatever, but she even braided my beard a bit. It's kind of gone away. I just shaved the other day. Like I just kind of buzzed it down the other day, but about a week ago it was a little bit longer. But she actually went and braided it for me. And so that was the reason that Alexis Day was there. She was there with a couple other makeup artists. Amazon Prime Video took Kathy and I and the other community leaders and social media influencers who were all here to attend the premiere and other events. In the morning, they brought us on out and fed us lunch and gave us an opportunity to get dressed up in costumes that were inspired by the Wheel of Time. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't have the exact props.
Yeah, it wasn't like, dress up as a Red Aja or anything like that. It was, kind of a traditional Renaissance-y type feel, but more
Yeah.
epic.
Yeah, and a lot of the capes and gowns were kind of, like, if you wanted to go in as an Aes Sedai, and you could pick your Aja, those colors were there. And so Kathy, being a green Aja, found a beautiful green cloak to wear and go over it and everything. So you can probably find on social media, not just us, but a lot of the other social media influencers. We got these costumes on, and then they took us out into public. And at one point, I was walking down the street or whatever, and I got long legs, and I got ahead of everybody else, and I realized, like, I'm walking down by myself in the middle of London wearing a cape and a crown and God knows whatever else, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna wait for the crowd to catch up so I'm not sticking out like a sore thumb.
But it was totally okay because we went to the Tower of London.
That's right. We went to the Tower of London, where the White Tower exists. And while we were there, they had projected up onto the side of the White Tower in London. They had a beautiful illuminated sign that says, the Wheel of Time, from Amazon Prime Video. There are pictures of it, lots of pictures up on our social media. So wherever you're watching this, click over to our feed, and you will see that there's a bunch of pictures and some video and some other stuff of that. So Kathy and I were both there. A number of other content creators that you know and love, and they were all there. We all got to see it. And there was a really cool thing happening. There, I took a little video of it, but why don't you tell us about it, Kathy? Where behind the tower, there was a tiny little, like, mock stage with some actors. So what was that? You don't remember?
No, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
There was an
Aes Sedai. The grass.
Yes, the Aes Sedai who was
it
tied
wasn't
up.
actually a stage. That's why I was confused.
I used the word stage.
I know, you got to use the right words.
Sounds set is what I was
There we
looking
go.
for.
There we go. So it was. This was the location for an amazing Twitch event that was put on with winners from all over London that were able to go to this event where you could hang out with a Twitch show that I don't know the name of, and I'm so sorry.
And that's okay. But by winners, you're saying these were people who had won contests that were put on by Amazon Prime Video UK.
Yes.
And so those lucky people were able to attend this event that ended up being streamed live on Twitch, on a Twitch show. And it took place in a reproduction of the Wine Spring Inn, which we have pictures of. So it was absolutely gorgeous. But for that event, they had some actors ready to go. And part of that was a rather tragic scene of an Aes Sedai getting burned at the stake. With a white cloak sitting there watching, just like, in the trailer. Yeah, like just like you see in the trailer. So and in the field. So in the field of the White Tower was an Aes Sedai getting burned at the stake. And which is pretty incredible. We just happened to be standing there as they were recording it, and so I kind of snuck over. Not really snuck, but I walked on over with my camera, and just then. This Aes Sedai who is chained, or tied up at the stake or whatever, starts screaming the most bloodthirsty scream I've ever heard, but certainly not heard at the real life tower, the Tower of London. There have been many screams like that over the years there. I can imagine so, yes. And the White Cloak, is, eating a fabulous meal. And so these are all scenes that you've seen in the trailer, and become a thing in the show, of course. So we got to see that. That was pretty cool. That led into the Twitch events. Yeah. And so we got to just kind of experience a bunch of people that were so excited to go into the White Tower to watch the screening. We, having, seen 6 episodes and watched it multiple times already, we didn't necessarily need to join the viewing. And so instead we kind of snuck around in the Tower of London. So maybe we shouldn't say it, because there's a person on here who commented that says, I was a guardsman in the tower for a few years. Yeah, so, Damien, if you, thankfully you don't still work there, I'm guessing, based on the past tense in the terms. So don't tell anybody.
Okay.
It is.
But we got some really fun footage
We got
because
some
we
cool
were
pictures. Yeah.
in costume in an empty Tower of London.
It was a very surreal moment. And there were other fans there. I mean, certainly during the Twitch event, there was a crowd there, and they all went to go into the actual White Tower where they were screening the first two episodes of The Wheel of Time. And so Kathy and I, we've already seen it multiple times, and so including last night. And so for the first time probably ever in my life, I was like, you know what? No, I think I've had enough seeing that Wheel of Time on there. Although now I want to like go back, especially watch those later episodes. But so we decided that we were going to walk around and just kind of get more of the vibe.
In the Tower of
In the
London,
tower. With it, it still said, like the Wheel of Time is projected up there. We got some time to take some really good pictures, and those are all up on our social media as well.
Yeah, so this entire experience has just been absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited for you all to kind of get the excitement that we're having. We know there's some comments in the chat. I give it, a 10, 1 out of 10, giving it 10. Obviously, there are things that, I didn't love or I had thoughts about or whatnot, but the experience in the show and everything and the care that they put into it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here on Amazon's dime, but I am fully supportive of everything that they've done, and it is an absolutely incredible show. Everything, all 6 episodes that we've seen have just been just incredible. Incredible.
And for me, the episodes get stronger as they go. I really think that my favorite was episode 6. Sorry. My favorite was episode 6 of them, and I'm not going to tell you why or whatever, and you can kind of judge for yourself. But I just felt that, by that point, we are 6 episodes into this, and you can tell that I don't even really know like the order. I assume that this was filmed later on, than the earlier episodes. Of course, it seems like an intuitive thing, and but by then the cast was especially on point. The writers had found their groove. We were into it far enough. We're 6 hours, 5 going on 6 hours of content worth it. So the story had evolved enough where it's okay, we found our stride here. We know how a little bit how the one power works. Now we can go to just the next little level. There's going to be so many points about the one power that we learn across the seasons. Even we can't just go and explain all the dynamics of Saidin and Saidar on in the first episode or whatever. And so it starts off simple. It does expand. It's clearly going to expand even more. But by the time they hit that 6th episode, and by the time that certain characters came on the stage, and it had been built up for a couple of these characters, it was, I'm not going to tell you who, but it was just shattering. There are some scenes, oh my goodness, some of the performances that some of these Aes Sedai these women give, it shattered me, and to see this on screen, and a lot of that thunder came in the 6th episode, and man, that was a great one.
Yeah, that was just absolutely incredible. A lot of a lot of people have seen the first 2 episodes, and I'm very, very glad that the 3rd episode is also going to be dropping on Friday, November 19th. There's something with the structure of these first 3 episodes that really will help you get the feel of the show. Yeah. And if for some reason you don't like the show after watching the first 3 episodes,
you're already halfway there. At least,
you might as well stick around and watch the rest.
Halfway, because I'm thinking 6 episodes. So, but whatever. But yeah, just stick around. Get whatever. I think that this is going to feel like it felt. To me and Kathy, it felt like the Wheel of Time. And that's something that Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, has been saying from the get-go, that was his number 1 goal, was not to be faithful to the letter of the book, because you can't do that. Sorry, but that's just as a fact that's been proven in Hollywood time and time again. You can't be exactly to the letter. But that said, there are some scenes that are to the letter right from it. There is a scene in episode 2. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it was, I'll tell you this. It was no spoilers. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You can guess and speculate. But later, after the screening last night, I was talking to one of the producers on the show, and this person described to me how it wasn't Rafe, it's another producer who described to me that the entire, I didn't even tell you this, but I don't know if you were there when you heard it, but the entire scene was taken, the character on horseback, and the entire scene was done in one take. And they basically blocked off a giant road way back there, and so the scene had to take place in real time before they got to the very end. And the scene was edited for the show, but when they were filming it that day, the entire scene was done in one long take with the camera
Wow.
tracking back. And the producer said that the scene ended like several times perfectly, right as they bumped up against the camera, up against the lens or whatever. And it was fantastic. And so that scene, maybe because it took so long, was straight out of the books, word for word, dialogue-wise, verbatim.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. It felt like I know this scene. Like many of us know it very well. It is a scene that is wonderful, and maybe even iconic, you would call it. And this was a scene that I don't know if it was verbatim, but it sure sounded like Robert Jordan's words, 90% verbatim, at least, you know?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what people like watching it with the books to see the connection for that particular scene, just because I want to know, but also like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and there are other scenes like that too. That it's not just one scene that I'm cherry picking out here. There are other scenes too that are straight out of the books, and they're really well done, and it's Robert Jordan talking to us. And I know not everyone agrees with this whole thing, but we've probably heard a lot about it. Something that Brandon Sanderson has said. It's something that I agree with. And I think it's something that holds a lot of value. But we have an in-world, in-universe explanation for, retelling stories, right? Time is a wheel. Yeah. And so in this case, I like to think of it, my headcanon, is that the books happened and then 7 ages have passed, clicked into place, and now we're back at that same story. And things are just a little bit different, but it's still the characters you know and love, and in many ways, enhanced, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just absolutely, magical. I can't even say anymore, and I think I'm about done.
I know. I think I'm wrapped here. Like I'm spent. So, really quick recap of a couple things. So today you can go and check our, in addition to this video, we have on our brand new Dragonmount podcast. Where you can get anywhere you find your podcasts. On our YouTube channel, you can find new spoiler-free reviews of the first 6, same topics we're talking about, both on the podcast and on our YouTube channel. And then be sure to check out all of our social media, because we posted a ton of stuff at the Tower of London and other things that were happening today, the costumes and other fun stuff.
And also this week we are doing Spirit Week. Today is still, because even though it's 11 o'clock here in London, anyone in the United States has several more hours for your day. So it's still Spirit Week. Today is Tattoo Tuesday.
Show us your Wheel of Time tattoos if you got them. I got one right here. I should post a picture of it. So,
yes.
So do that. Check out Spirit Week. And then this Saturday, so again, on Friday, the episodes will be live, and we're going to be talking about that, of course, on social media. We'll be doing that a whole lot, but we're going to give you until the morning, basically 24 hours more or less on Saturday. When our spoiler embargo lifts, we are going to give you podcast episodes, YouTube episodes, and written material that goes into full spoilers on the first 3 episodes. These are meant to be supplementary to the show. We're not trying to summarize we're not trying to summarize and recap what you can watch on TV much better. We are here to, after you have watched it, go check out our content. If you prefer our podcast, go check out the podcast. If you like YouTube, check it out on YouTube. Or if you just like to check it in browser, we'll have written reviews and static summaries and everything.
Or all of them.
Yeah. Well, that would be great too. We one of the things that we really work very, very hard for here at Dragonmount is to not just we are not just a YouTube channel. We are not just a Twitter account. We are not just a static news page. We try to be, at the very least, a little bit of everything. So thank you for being a part of that. Thank you for joining us here tonight.
Yes, we're once again, I'm this is just kind of the refrain that I keep saying, and it's not because it's fake, but I truly, truly am so excited for you all to experience this show in a way that I have never been excited for anything really in my life. Like this is just amazing. And I am excited to see everyone else as excited as I am.
Sure. Yeah, we're so excited. And thank you to Amazon Prime Video for giving us this opportunity, for giving us access to these screeners, and allowing us to create this content that will be available for you and immediately in a timely manner when it can be. And thank to them for flying us out to London. Holy moly!
Yeah, and treating us so
and
well.
not just us, but all of the fans that were able to come out here, and the content creators. It has been clear that Amazon cares a whole lot about us, and that they have tried to embrace us. And there's going to be future seasons, so we're hoping that more stuff like this would again happen with more content creators involved. If you are a content creator yourself for the Wheel of Time, keep going, keep doing your thing, and
they're watching.
They're watching, and that was something that was made clear again, time and time again. And every time I have met or talked to anyone from the crew and cast, they have said to me directly, almost the first thing, time and again, is they say, like, we see you, we hear you, we absolutely love what we can do. They can't always reach out to us, they can't always message us, but the amount of the cast that came right up to us and said, I love your content and thank you so much. It's great to meet you finally in person. This is not just to us, but to the other content creators as well. It's inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing if you're one of those content creators. There are future seasons, at least season 2. I know there are rumors about season 3, but I'll just say that Dragonmount doesn't report on rumors only, and nothing has been confirmed.
Yes. Yeah. So
don't believe what you hear all the time or read.
I mean, I am hoping and dreaming for 8, 10, 20 seasons. Okay, maybe not 20. So we don't know, but it's 2 have been confirmed. They're filming season 2 right now, and that's all we're gonna say. So instead, I think we're gonna say good night.
Good night. I'm ready to cry. I haven't slept in forever.
It's bedtime.
So thank you for being on, everyone. We will do this again sometime, and
we love you so
later.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.